Welcome to COMM 2115 Intercultural Communication. This is a class I truly enjoy teaching in person, so we're going to see how well I can do it virtually. We will be using Fred Jant's textbook this semester. Most of this information you need, you can get off of the syllabus, but I wanted to introduce myself. So you saw that there was a person here. This is my basement. I'm in the process of refinishing it or redoing it. So that's why I have a refrigerator in my basement office. Other than it makes it nice and handy for a cold drink when I'm working, it don't belong in here. What are we going to do? Well, we are going to teach this class, or I'm going to teach this class in an asynchronous mode. Asynchronous means I post something, you watch it, you post something, I watch it. We do not have to all be here at the same time. That's one of the reasons you have an online class, because it's more flexible. And I will post something every Monday by midnight. You have until Thursday to make a comment on it, and then you have until the following Sunday to comment onto two peers. And that's going to be the bulk of your grade, a conversation. This is, after all, a communication class, an intercultural communication class. What I love to do when I'm teaching this in person is I will lecture on something one day, say Monday, and then Wednesday I'll sit you all in a circle and you talk about it. And people are kind of like, well, but by the end of the semester, most of the students are open and having a discussion and learning about different cultures and understanding different cultures, because the only way that we can break this cycle of meism is to look at other people and understand how they see the world. And that's what's important. We need to do that. I teach in my public speaking class. Oftentimes, I take a tube of toothpaste and I give a group of students a tube, and there's 5 groups in the class or 4 groups in the class, and each one of them is told, okay, the object is to get the toothpaste out as quickly as possible. I don't care how you do it. And they get creative and sometimes make a mess, and then I said, okay, now that toothpaste is out, put it back in. One thing you have to understand about communication is especially speaking and talking and things like that, is once it's out, it don't go back in. You can't unring a bell. Yeah, and you've all probably done something really stupid to someone you care about, and oh, I'm sorry. The first thing you said was, I'm sorry, but it doesn't change it. Or somebody done something to hurt you, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry. Like it's going to erase it and make it go away. It won't. Well, when we talk about intercultural communication, that's a very big aspect of this miscommunication stuff, because what you mean one way may be taken by somebody else as a different way. And a couple of quick examples. What does this mean? Peace, right? To most people, this means peace, in America anyway. And that means victory. Well, in some English-speaking countries, this is another form of this. So, without understanding the culture, you might tell somebody what you did not want to tell them. And so we have to understand different cultures and how they look at stuff. One thing that I learned many, many years ago when I was a young soldier, I was raised in the South. So, of course, like most redneck Southern boys, I had a rebel flag hanging in my room at some point in time. And I was sitting there drinking beers with a black friend of mine in the Army, in the barracks. He kept looking at the flag. It's like, what's going on, dude? And he told me how it made him feel. I took it down, never hung it up again. Because I never understood. I never saw it from somebody else's perspective. And I'm not saying that you're going to change your life because you understand somebody else's perspective. Sometimes things are so deeply rooted into you that regardless of how other people feel, you will still feel the same way about them. That's fine. We're not going to change everybody 100%. One of my favorite stories is about one of these, a rubber band ball. And I was tasked as a student one time to write a self-reflective paper. And I had never done that before. At the time, I was 40-something years old, and I had never written a self-reflective paper. And if you haven't done it before, take the time and do it. Take a look at yourself and see why you are the way you are. In this particular case, we were required to use the standpoint theory of communication, which basically says you see the world the way you do because of how you were raised and where you were raised and the social predicament that you're in. You see it from your standpoint. Well, I wrote this reflective paper, and I realized that life is culture. Culture is a wonderful thing. You can't go to the store and get a gallon of culture. It's not tactile. You can't touch it. But just like the rubber bands change this ball, each rubber band changes the mass and density of the ball and how it reacts to outside stimulus. Each event in my life has changed how I react to outside stimulus. Some rubber bands are thin and tight and painful. Some are wide and comforting. When you've been away from home and you go home and you smell that, especially during the holidays, and you smell that holiday meal cooking, that's a wide and comforting, rubber band. Other ones just mark the days, and then some are thin, tight, and painful. September the 11th. I'm sure you've all heard about that day. Most of you were not around on that day. It's a tight, painful experience for most Americans. On the other hand, for most people that believed in Al Qaeda, it was a great thing. They were celebrating. Personally, for me, it was the day. I am a very patriotic person. I served 20 years in the Army. I love my country. My dad died September the 8th. September the 11th didn't mean much to me. I was still in shock from losing my hero. So the same event is going to have different reactions by different people based on where they are. You need to understand that when we're talking about culture. So your grades, you're going to have a couple of tests, a midterm and a final. Midterm will be multiple choice or maybe some true false over whatever we covered up to the final, the midterm. The final will be multiple choice, true false for the rest of the semester, whatever we covered. Majority of your grade, like I said earlier, is going to be on the discussions. If you don't have an active discussion, you won't get a good grade. You have to reply to a peer's comment. So let's say a peer says, I was affected because, or something that so-and-so happened in my life. And you say, wow, I didn't know that. That does not count as a response and you won't get credit for it. Each post you make is worth 50 points. Each response to your peers is worth 25 up to a total of 50. You can talk to more people if you want to, but I mean, I'm not going to be going and searching for comments you made on 20 different posts to 20 different people. You can miss, you can miss up to 2 without having any penalty. And all the details are in the syllabus, but it takes me probably 20 minutes to make this video and 5 hours to upload it. So I wanted to get it uploaded so I can get it in the system. A little about me quickly. I am 61 years old. I got my PhD from the University of Southern Miss. My focus was on interpersonal and intercultural communication. I have a wife, 3 kids, 7 grandkids. I live out in Marion County, middle of nowhere, Georgia. I spent 20 years in the Army. I've traveled the world. And to me, culture is a wonderful thing. And I hope that we can all grow. Because, A professor told me this many years ago, and it stuck with me. He said, students come to me and say, how can I get an A in your class? And in reality, it's not about getting an A. It's about growing. Now, I understand that you want this scholarship and you want mom and dad to be proud of you and you want to do this, you want to do that, so you need to get good grades. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. It hadn't been that long I was on that side of the desk. But if you spend a semester in my class on intercultural communication and you do not grow, regardless of what grade you got, you've wasted your time. If you get all A's, but nothing caused you to think, grow, or change in any way, you've wasted your time. Hopefully, we're all going to grow together. I will see you in another video. My phone number, my email address are all on the syllabus. Please feel free to contact me anytime you have any questions, because if I don't know you're having a problem, I can't help you. Till then.